One of the biggest question that I'm asked is, how did you get to this place where you decided to be a coach? Like, do you know something that other people don't? In fact, funnily enough, many of my friends in the very beginning kept on saying that, yeah, we can also tell people what they should do. We also have so much experience. What they don't realize and what they did not realize at the time is that coaching is not about telling people what they should be doing. In fact, if that was the case, how would I coach CXO level people? Because I've never been a CXO. How would I coach somebody who basically has aspirations to get into a board? Because I've never gotten into a board. Coaching is actually about transformation. It's not about growth. It is not about me holding somebody's hands and knowing exactly what path they should walk on. It's a discovery process. Majority of the time, the solutions are already in people's life, in their heart, in their mind. But the blockers that they have gone through, or the life they have gone through, the blockers they have got as a result of that, those are huge and they're not able to get away from that. So coaching is really about discovery. And for discovery, you need somebody who's an expert in that. And that's what a coach is. Now, having explained that coach, and I hope that has been useless for you because you already know what a coach is, that training is telling, coaching is discovery. So it's very different. I'm not a trainer, I'm a coach. I help people discover what is already inside them. So what led me becoming a coach? Like, after all, the very first experience I had with a coach was back in 2012 for a very short amount of duration. And was it the knowledge? Was it anything else? Not really. So what happened in 2017 when I actually started my weight loss journey and I lost 16 kg in 16 weeks? That's when I was in touch with, like, whoa, hold on a second. I could do this. I thought of myself as a fairly mediocre guy, which I was at the time, but I could do this. This is pretty good, amazing stuff. That means there's something inside me. So around the same time when I was starting to lose weight, I engaged a coach because while I was getting through this physical phase and I was finding the beast of a person inside me, I wasn't sure what am I doing in my career. The questions in the career place was still there. The being a misfit was still there. Being a misfit with friends was still there. The feeling of, like, why should I get up was still there. And that entire thing about what do I do with my life? Is this it? That question was still there. I was bored. I was a corporate zombie. I was completely directionless. So I engaged a coach and we started working together on what is it that is my forte. And as we continued to talk, it came out that if I look at multiple patterns in my life, there were a few patterns which stood out, which is I always wanted to do something with my hands by myself. I had to have this feeling that I did this. It was huge. And some other pattern about my connection with people, my success, being dependent on people. I had never had any doubts about my role as a manager, which I played that role for about 16 years of my 22 years corporate career. So all of that happened because of people. But what happened was a story that changed everything. That my frustration level was increasing. And in September 2017, I asked my boss, Ivan, and he was amazing, really great supporter. And I asked him, he was sharing about his 2018 plan and what's my role, and I'm going to manage this part of the business, and he will have basically 2 people working on this. And while I was listening to it, which was pretty cool that he was telling me and he was trusting me, my internal imposter syndrome was really coming and kicking me very, very massively in my backside. So I just blurted out. I did a career limiting thing. I asked him, Ivan, why do you keep me around? This was an exact question actually I asked. I remember where I was sitting. Why do you keep me around? It's like there's a dog on the leash. My perception of myself was so low. Why do you keep me around, Ivan? And he looked at me and he understood me very well. He's a great guy. He is a great guy, I'm sure. And he said, you know, Kapil, he's a fan of footy. So he said, when a game of footy is happening, there are those people on the playing field. They're running for their life, literally. They're throwing the ball and catching the ball and doing all of those things. And on an average, each of them run for like 9.1 kilometers in every game or something like that. That's like some crazy numbers. Can't believe how. And he said, so those people are doing whatever it takes. And there are people in the sideline who are cheering them up, who are saying, you know what, go for it. They're keeping their momentum in check. They're keeping their energy level high. And when they come back to the locker room in the midpoint, they actually are edging them on and talking about various things. And I said, Kapil, I can't think of my team without you. You're that guy who basically gets them absolutely amazing, at amazing place and power in their power zone. Now that statement that he made was to support me, to make me feel good. But I was not the man I am today. So I didn't really understand. My world fell apart. In the corporate world, there is this thing about success that you have to be a leader. And for me, it just flew on my face that I'm actually just a supporter. So this really, really hit me hard and hurt me deeply. And obviously to him, I said, I appreciate you and everything, but it hurt me deeply. So I remember going to my coach, Graham, and I'm talking to him. I'm saying, Graham, I need to figure this out. And we met 3 times that entire week. And we actually looked at those patterns and we found out that if there's one thing which stood out was my connection with people. I had people who will go on a death march for me. People would not do things for other managers, but for me, they will do anything. And I actually took joy in their growth. I've had some people who actually grow way beyond me in the company, from my team to senior to me. And I still had that attachment and feeling very, very strong about them. That was the single biggest pattern for my success. In spite of being actually a mediocre, not the greatest project manager, not the greatest delivery manager, okay client partner, not the greatest client relationship manager, but still got my 12 years in Cognizant. Every year I was above my revenue target, above my profit target. And no, I did not get lucky. I did work hard. Any which ways, it all happened because of my connection with people and because people would do anything for me. After that, it was not at all something that I had to think about. I just jumped in. I knew that whatever I do, it has to be about people. And I took that support role and made myself an enabler leader. And that's what got me to be a coach. September 27th, I resigned. November 4th, I was free from Cognizant and I started my journey. That's how I decided to become a coach. Now, for some of you who want to be coaches, let me tell you, what does it take to start with? At least, I'll talk about it in some other session, but what does it take? It takes an absolute blind trust on people. Number one, if you don't have blind trust on people, no, you're going to find it extremely difficult to be a coach. You must actually love them. There's also very odd things to think about in a corporate setting, but you must love them. You must feel love for them. You must have deep connection with them, obviously. So blind trust, love for people. Third, you need to be playing a game at a very high level. That means listening to books or reading a lot of books, to attending programs and investing on yourself. Just always trying to be your best version. Lead the pack. Become an enabler, leader, rather than just do what everybody else does. These are the 3 bare minimum criteria for becoming a coach. And anybody else who does it any other ways, I have not seen anybody becoming successful. There are tons of people who want to make an impact, but they don't themselves have a coach. Like, how can you be a coach if you have never had a coach? Is it some kind of a amazing thing which basically only the people who become your client, only they will go through that? So in all of these duration, after 2018, I didn't have a coach, so therefore I failed. After 2019 onwards, I've always had a coach. So these are some of the things that is what it takes to be a coach, and my own backstory of why I decided to get into coaching. Well, if you love this, let me know in the comments, what do you think? What is the part that connected with you most? And definitely, please share with people who can actually gain from this, gain from experiences. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already subscribed, and I will keep putting in some great quality of content and amount of content out there on this channel. Have a phenomenal day and play it forward.